Asalaam Alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakat.
I'm Yasmin,
I'm Fatu.
and you're listening to The
The
Silent
Silent
Path.
Path.
أسمو وأجتاز السماء.
So, today, Alhamdulillah, we're going to be talking about another role model of ours called, you probably know her. I mean, honestly, she's low key underrated. We don't really talk about her that much, but it's Asiyah bint Muzahim. And if you don't know who she is, she's the wife of the Pharaoh. Okay, and you're like, first of all, when you hear this, you're like, whoa, how did this? If you don't know the story, then you're probably like, what? What are you talking about? Like, this is crazy. The Pharaoh. But trust me, like, she really earned her spot in Jannah.
Asiyah, the brave and righteous wife of the evil Pharaoh, had advised her husband to adopt the infant Musa alayhi salam when she found him at River Nile. Although Asiyah was not Prophet Musa's alayhi salam's biological mother, her love for him was extraordinary. She had loved him since the first time she laid her eyes on him as a baby. She convinced Pharaoh not to kill Prophet Musa alayhi salam and insisted that Prophet Musa alayhi salam would be their beloved child who would later bring great benefit to them. This was at a time when infanticide was the law of the land, where all newborn Jewish boys were executed and slaughtered because of the prediction that one of them would overthrow Pharaoh and destroy him. Asiyah not only nurtured Prophet Musa alayhi salam in the palace of Pharaoh, but was also one of the first to accept monotheism as preached by her adopted son, Prophet Musa alayhi salam. Pharaoh was the biggest tyrant of his time and a ruthless king. He was the leader of an exceptional civilization and was surrounded by wealth and power. He proclaimed himself to be God and commanded his people to worship him. Despite being Pharaoh's wife, Asiyah had no commonalities with him. She was one of the loyal followers of Prophet Musa alayhi salam and firmly believed in his message, despite knowing that whoever followed Prophet Musa alayhi salam would face punishment and severe torture. This information was given to us by Muslim.sg articles for Women of Paradise.
So, yeah, so despite being married to a tyrant who was acknowledged literally in the Quran, she was still a woman of complete conviction and unshaken faith. As the Prophet ﷺ had described her. Literally, he described her as that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in the Quran that he set the wife of Prophet Noah alayhi salam and Prophet Lut alayhi salam as examples for the disbelievers. Even their respective husbands were prophets. You know what I mean? They betrayed them and rejected the truth. Allah sets forth an example for the disbelievers. The wife of Noah and the wife of Lut each was married to one of our righteous servants, yet betrayed them. So their husbands were of no benefit to them against Allah whatsoever. Both were told, enter the fire along with others. And I think that's fair, to be honest. Anyway, and that was Surah 66, Ayah 10. But on the other hand, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sets Asiyah, the wife of Pharaoh, and Maryam, the mother of Prophet Isa, as examples for the believers. Allah praises them and speaks very highly of them. And in the next following ayahs of the same surah, and Allah sets forth an example for the disbelievers. The wife of Pharaoh who prayed, my Lord, build me a house in paradise near you. Deliver me from Pharaoh and his evil doing, and save me from the wrongdoing people. There is also the example of Mary, the daughter of Imran, who guarded her chastity. So we breathed into her through our angel Jibril. She testified to the words of her Lord and his scriptures and was one of the sincerely devout. Mind you, in all of these verses, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shows us that having faith is an individual struggle. Okay? Asiyah was living with a cruel oppressor, Pharaoh, but he did not in any way define Asiyah. Asiyah had all the reasons to hide her faith, but her love for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala overcame her fear of being tortured. And she eventually professed her faith anyway, which led her to her death. So she honestly died a martyr and she died in one of the best ways possible. Asiyah was tortured in the most brutal way. And time after time, Pharaoh would ask her if she had changed her mind, and every time she would affirm her faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The God of Prophet Musa alayhi salam and Prophet Harun alayhi salam, Pharaoh was infuriated and betrayed and decided to end her life. as he was not affected by the severity of the torments, and as she made a prayer that was preserved in the Quran. So really, she was on top. You know what I mean?
Right. In that prayer that was preserved in the Quran, it was, "My Lord, build me a house in paradise near you. Deliver me from Pharaoh and his evil doing, and save me from the wrongdoing people." She died while holding on to her strong faith, and she was guaranteed paradise. Asiyah radiallahu anha was a woman surrounded by power and wealth, but those worldly possessions did not blind her. When her eyes were set upon the truth, she could do anything without a command. She could do anything with a command, but she chose Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala over worldly benefits. Although she was married to the biggest tyrant, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala set her an example for the believers. She embodied kindness, strength, and courage in the name of submitting to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, qualities that name her a woman of paradise. MashaAllah, tabarakallah. Musa was found in the Nile River. This is the time where Pharaoh would basically kill a lot of Jewish boys, a lot of sons who were born or at least alive, because he was scared that they would take his position. But mashallah, like, because she just saw Musa alayhi salam river like that, just one look, and she was like, no, like, he can't take, like, he can't kill him, you know, he can't take this child away from her, even though that was not her biological son, even though she was not the one that gave birth to Musa alayhi salam. She still said no. And you know, Pharaoh was like the worst of the worst. Like, he was doing too much, you know. He was a man who did not care for no one. So she stood up for Musa alayhi salam. Even in his infancy, she stood up for him, knowing that this could have cost her punishments on punishments, or, you know, brutality. But she still did it. So mashallah for her kindness and her bravery, because if not for that, like, astaghfirullah, you never know what would happen in that case.
People don't understand like the guts it takes, especially if your husband is literally like one of the biggest tyrants of time, and he would literally, like, mind you, he's so in love with the fact that he wants to be worshipped and everything and yada yada yada, that he literally goes out of his way to torture and kill people because he's that, like, low-key insecure. And she did not let that mind her. She was like, oh, okay, you know what, like, I believe what I believe in, I'm gonna stick to that fact. That takes a lot of courage and a lot of, like, love to do that, you know what I mean? And think that's really, really beautiful. And it goes back to the fact that I really wish which I want to strive this way. Well, I really want to be I really want to strive to be this way. I think that is really, really beautiful, because something that we have wrong with our society, in my opinion, is that, like, you know, it's like we be following others. You know what I mean? I feel like one person does something, it's like trends after trends after trends. I'm like,
Yeah.
just stick to something. You know, you can progress, but why are you trying to be like everybody else? It's getting kind of boring. Obviously, yes, like, there's a balance, you know what I mean? Like, obviously, if you like something that everybody likes, okay, that's great. If you don't, also great. But it's the fact I'm speaking towards specific people that, like, they trying to be like everybody else. You know, like, having your own personality and own things, and, like, standing up for what you believe in is so important, and it builds character. And I find that so courageous of her. Like, being standing up for what's right is so hard these days. Like, it's so no, but it should be done nonetheless, for sure. That's my opinion.
Everyone does. Like, it's an important thing that we should all take into account. And I want to talk a bit more about, like, her tawakkul and her patience in Allah, because when I read this part where it was saying that Asiyah was tortured in the most brutal way, and time after time Fir'aun would ask her if she had changed her mind, and every time she would affirm her faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the God of Prophet Musa alayhi salam and Prophet Harun alayhi salam, Fir'aun was infuriated and betrayed and decided to end her life. Like, literally, she was getting so beaten up. She was literally killed by her own husband. But her tawakkul in Allah did not stop her, you know? Okay, before she was, you know, killed, you know.
It didn't stop her, but even in Islam, we're not encouraged to, like, like, even in Islam, if we're like in a life-threatening situation, it's still okay, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows your intention.
Exactement. Like,
you know,
literally, he was literally beating on her. Literally, she was getting beaten on, constantly abused by her own husband, but still she had to tawakkul on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. She knew that Islam was the right path. She knew that what her husband was doing was not good. And with that, with her faith and her trust, she was granted paradise. She was granted to be one of the women of Jannah. And I think that's so beautiful, because it's sad how it's very sad how Fir'aun just the man he is, oh my gosh, like it's a sad thing to have to like hear and know, but imagine being in that time, like imagine being in that situation, like her trust in Allah, her knowing that Allah is the one and only God, is what got her to Jannah Firdaus, and now she's peaceful, now she'll be able to have that peace that she was longing for, so mashallah for this. I think that it's so important, and I like to relate it to like this modern day, like it wasn't just when she was in that severe moment that she had tawakkul and that she had trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. She accepted Islam even before this. So it's like, do not just always believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when I mean this is like, don't think that once everything starts crashing down on you and like this is probably the worst moment of your life, that's not gonna be the time where you're like, okay, should I start like there's things that people say. It's like when you're like know you're gonna die, or like you're in a life death situation, that's when you have trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. C'est pas comme ça. It's not like this. It's like you have to always have like this trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You always have to have tawakkul in him throughout your life. Even if you're doing good, always stay humble, always have humility, because you never know when things will go left. You never know when things will like start to shift, Don't think that like, oh, if I'm not praying, like that's fine, and then when you're in a life death situation, then that's when you're gonna start up and praying two rakas. Please, like like it doesn't work like this. It really doesn't. But inshallah, may Allah make it easier for all of us, may he ease your hardships, and yeah.
I mean, inshallah. That's so true though. Like her level of tawakkul was on another level. And anyway, as Fatu mentioned, she ended up like confessing her faith anyway. And even when she was being tortured and everything, she did not let her let that stop her. Matter of fact, the saying when they say like, oh, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives me is like a sign of he wants me to get close to him. I took that pain as a blessing or something. Like I took the pain with a smile on my face. And it's giving the exact same thing, because the thing is, at the end of the day, she, in my opinion, died as a martyr. And I feel like that's so beautiful, because she was getting tortured because she believed in something, and she still stood up for it because she knew that it was the right thing. Mind you, honestly, Pharaoh is delusional. Like
Everyone
no.
does. Like,
Mind you, she prayed like in her last moments, like, my Lord, build me a house in paradise near you. Near you. Deliver me from Pharaoh and his evil doing, and save me from the wrongdoing of people. Basically, she made this dua before she died. Mind you, this dua obviously got accepted because we call her one of the women of Jannah. And it goes back to the fact that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is ready to accept your dua anytime, anywhere. It doesn't matter. Like, people think that you have to be sitting down or something, or in a peaceful place to be doing dua. You can be doing dua anywhere. I think except the bathroom though. But anywhere, as long as it's sincere, and inshallah, may Allah accept your dua. Ameen. And
inshallah.
as we mentioned, if he doesn't, we know that he wanted something better for you. Because honestly, like, I'm gonna be honest, I can give like a personal experience where like I've made dua in my head. Like, I didn't, mind you, I didn't whisper anything. I didn't even raise my hands. I didn't do anything. Like, when I was younger, I remember I was thinking of things in my head, like, oh, I want this, or I wish I had this, or whatever, and I have it today. And I think that's something that people don't
Yes.
realize. Like, I think what people should start doing, if you're make a dua list. Like, if you want, first of all, start praying tahajjud, but make a dua list. And when you make this list, start ticking off things that you have, and then you'll see how many blessings Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave to you when you ask. And mind you, this is just when you ask, let alone when you don't even ask. You know what I mean? Trust me. And this helps build a relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because you're really sitting here like saying like, wow, like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala truly loves me, and like he's giving me all of this. I asked for this, either he gave me this or he gave me something better. Because he knows us best. Like, he really wants the best for us. So like, anything that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives you, you should be content with it. It's very important to be grateful, you know?
Asiyah, the wife of Pharaoh, she was no ordinary woman. Like, her strength, her status, she'll forever remain like unsurpassed. She was a woman who like never allowed herself to be defined or limited by her painful circumstances. Rather carried in her such a deep faith and a sense of self that she was willing to die for what she believed in. And like, mind you, she was the queen. Like, she was someone who had high status, you know, but because of Pharaoh, because of this, you know, she was very limited. She was getting abused, brutally beaten, but because of because of tawakkul and like patience, sabr, she became one of the women of Jannah. And like Yasmin said, he was emphasizing making dua and like what did you say? You said like the importance of dua and the importance of dua making. Because of her dua, is that's what got her into Jannatul Firdaus. You know, she asked Allah, Ya Allah, bring me into paradise. You know, do not make me amongst like Fir'aun. I think she said something like this, like do not make
Like the wrongdoing people.
yeah, do not make me amongst the wrongdoing people. And I think this is important to note because dua is like, I don't think people understand the importance of it. Like Yasmin also was emphasizing, like dua is really, really important. You can do it anywhere. Like, I think I said this in another episode, but like when I was young, I always thought like you can only make dua when you're praying, like when you're only like in like sujood or something. I never knew that you can just like do it anywhere. I always thought that you had to have wudu to make dua, but no, like in any moment you can make dua. And like, it starts small. Like, you have a mini exam, make a dua that you pass. Like, you know, you want something small, like maybe like a chocolate or candy, make dua that you'll get it. You know, start small. You know, it doesn't have to be like this big dua. It could be something small, and then slowly graduate. You know, like Yasmin said, make a dua list. That's important. You know, ask Allah, because Allah provides anything. He wills what He wills, you know. So don't think that there's any limit to what He will provide for you. Don't think that there's any limit to what He'll give you, you know. But it's all about you being a good Muslim as well, you know. She wasn't known for being Fir'aun's wife. She was known for being a good Muslim, you know. And I think that's something we have to emphasize here, you know. She was literally the wife of a tyrant. You would be like, how did the wife of a tyrant acquire such a level in Jannah, you know? Because of her trust and tawakkul in Allah, her belief in Allah and Islam is what brought her to Jannah. Not because of her status, not because she was a queen, none of this. No, that one dua that she made is what got her to like Jannah, you know. So I think it's important, you know. I don't know what I'm saying here, I'm just yapping, but yeah, you feel me? Right, type.
And by the way, when Fatu says like start with small du'as, it's so that you can build the habit and build the fact that like, because when you make du'a, as I said, you have to have the belief that it will get accepted. You know, you have to, because like, why would you think less of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala anyway? So yes, start building the habit and stuff, and then go on bigger and bigger and bigger, and don't think anything's too crazy, because as she mentioned, His powers like
Exactly.
are not like, there are no limits at all.
Exactly. So,
You could literally ask Him like, oh, I hope like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, please make it rain tomorrow.
exactly.
Like stuff like this. It could be anything. Anyway, yeah, but I find it really nice that like she saw, like, she also, another way that she was really courageous was the fact that like, as Fatu mentioned, like she saw like during this time it was the infanticide, and because of low-key Pharaoh's insecurity, whatever. So she imagined coming home to your husband, he does not like, he's doing his whole thing, and you bring home a baby boy. How do you think that looks? You know, God forbid he's like, oh, you got another one to kill, perfect.
Wow.
But yeah, no, but that's what I'm saying. It's like a lot of courage, but she ended up keeping him, whatever, raising him, and she raised him as her own. She did not look at him like, she did not look at him like in a poor way, which, as we mentioned, I feel like something that we mentioned was that like, even though she was a husband of like a tyrant, she was not that way. And I feel like that's so important, even when it comes to marriages, that people don't realize these days, is marriage is not about you like shifting yourself to please your husband. It's about two people, separate people, filling each other with harmony. You know, it's like, you don't have to be similar or the same. It's about, she's like this and it fits perfectly for this type of guy. So what I'm saying is like, you're still your own person, and this is proof of that, because she was nothing like the Pharaoh. Matter of fact, she was looking the opposite. She was clearly loving, caring, courageous, which is everything that the Pharaoh was very much not. And we can see that in her actions. So beautiful. So yeah, she brought, like, I think it was so courageous that she got home a boy and even raised him as her own and everything, even though her husband was literally out here doing the most when it came to that. So yeah.
Interesting. I also agree with what you said and the points that you made. I think that they really emphasized a lot of like her story, and I honestly agree with you.
Mind you, if you haven't realized about all these women of Jannah, they were all high women of status, but they did not let that affect them at all. Like they all had high women, like high status, but they still acted as if they didn't have that. They still acted humbly. They, matter of fact, they acted like, even like, how do I say this? It's like, you know how people that are like in low in status, they try to act like they're high in status and everything. Even they were acting like people who were lower, like in status. Like they were acting lower than the people that are lower in status. I don't know if that made sense, but yes. But I hope you now understand and learn so much about the fact that just because you're the wife of someone, a daughter of someone, a son, like even a brother of somebody, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be like that person. And I hope that you understood that, like, she's such a heartfelt woman, and I honestly, I resonate with her so much, and hope that you found something that you want to incorporate into your life and your personality, and how she made you feel more courageous to do something. Let's say if your parents are forcing you to, let's say, do a certain job you don't want, maybe it made you feel like, okay, no, this is wrong, I'm gonna be miserable. No. So yeah, so thank you so much for listening to The
The
Silent
Silent
Path.
Path.
الحمد لله الذي أنزل على عبده الكتاب ولم يجعل له عوجا قيما لينذر بأسا شديدا من لدنه ويبشر المؤمنين